Okay, it's the top of the hour, so let's get started with the webinar. First, I want to welcome everyone for joining this webinar today. My name is Rob Smilowitz, and I'm the Director of Sales Engineering for Orbis Technologies. And today I'll be showing you features of the RSuite information management system. Okay. So the agenda for today is to just go over a few introductory slides and then jump right into an RSuite demonstration. And what I'll be showing you today is some common use case scenarios for RSuite. Okay. And in case you weren't aware, we recently announced a merger of two companies, RSI and Orbis Technologies, and we are going to be known as Orbis from this point forward. The two companies have complementary technologies, and it was determined that combined we could offer more advanced and complete solutions to our prospects and customers. Okay, so it's a very good thing. So what is RSuite? If you aren't familiar with RSuite at all, or if you haven't been exposed to it, this next couple of slides will just give you a general idea of what RSuite is and what it can do. And really, no matter what you are publishing, RSuite can help manage the entire publishing process. First, RSuite serves as a central repository because it can store all of your content files and digital assets. RSuite can also manage metadata schemes, taxonomies, and controlled vocabularies. And RSuite has a robust search interface powered by MarkLogic that supports keyword, Boolean, and faceted searches. And because RSuite is a web-based application, it is available wherever your users are located. Okay. To support content delivery, RSuite can transform content to multiple formats supporting both print and digital outputs. RSuite can package your content per your channel partner's delivery specifications, and RSuite can actually perform the delivery of the package to your channel partner's location via FTP or other protocol. Additionally, business processes can be tracked and managed using RSuite's embedded workflow engine. Workflow tasks can be assigned to users and also execute scripts to run automated processes. For content authoring, RSuite has an embedded XML editor that has many Microsoft Word-like features. It supports change tracking, commenting, spell checking, and of course, all the other textual or styling changes that you can perform on text. RSuite also has a new automated composition tool to help design and produce digital outputs such as PDFs and EPUBs. Okay. So that'll take us to today's demonstration where the focus will be on the following use case scenarios. Okay. First, we'll locate articles stored in RSuite using keyword and faceted search. Second, we'll reuse selected articles as the content of the new report. Next, we'll execute a quick task workflow to process the articles that we found. Then we'll make an edit to the article and we'll review in RSuite's online editor that I mentioned. And then finally, we'll generate some various output formats. We'll create an EPUB file for the bookstore and a PDF proof for the author to review. Okay, so let's jump in to RSuite, break out of this, and pull up RSuite. So this is the login screen of RSuite. It's your standard login screen that allows you to access RSuite and all its capabilities. So users are provided with a username and password. As you can see here, this is my username. My password is already entered in. And then I can log into the system, and it takes me into RSuite. So the screen that's opening up first is the content view. As you can see here, it's highlighted in blue. And you can see that the content page is divided into two panels. So here on the left-hand side is the search panel where you can see you can enter in keyword search terms. And as I mentioned, it supports full Boolean searching. So you can search for phrases, you can search for something like this and that, this or that, this not that, to find exactly what, the criteria of what you're looking for. You can also incorporate different search facets. These are the standard facets that come with RSuite. So let's say if you do a keyword search, a particular term, but maybe you're looking for files of a particular type, audio files, documents, images, PDFs, etc. You can select those here. If you're looking for content that entered the system on a certain day, maybe what was loaded into the system today or yesterday, this week, this month, etc. Files loaded by a particular user, things like that. So these are the standard, the standards way of searching within RSuite. You can also create custom search forms. So if you want to search by specific criteria, no problem at all. That criteria can be loaded in the system as metadata, basically metadata fields, and then you can search on values. So if you have like specific keywords, or if you want to, if you're doing publishing and you want to check on submission status, let's say, and you want to see what content is in which stage in your repository, if something's being previewed or published or is a work in progress, any types of thing you want, and any types of metadata you want to capture, you can capture it, and then you can search on it here by creating the custom search forms. Okay. In the center panel, these are what's called the home folders, and this is the organization of your content. So this is, when you start up an new RSuite instance, this is completely empty, and then you can organize the content in any way you see fit. So what I'm showing here is, as you can see, I have different samples, because RSuite supports the publishing of all different types of content types. So as you can see, I have a journal article sample, book chapters, white papers. I have a digital asset library, and I'm going to jump into there first. When there's an arrow, that means you can drill down. So essentially you're creating a hierarchy for your content, this folder structure. So if I jump into my audio folder, you can see the actual files that's stored in the repository. So audio files, video files, all types of documents, graphics, etc. So these are, graphics, GIFs, JPEGs, PNGs, etc. Any types of documents, ebooks, PDFs, Microsoft Office files, Word documents, Excel. So really, RSuite can store and manage, any types of files, anything that can be stored in a repository, in a file system can be stored and managed, in the RSuite repository. And the benefit of that is a step further than that is any of this content that's based in text. So those Office files, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, PDF files, EPUBs, etc., are all indexed in the underlying MarkLogic repository upon ingestion into RSuite, so that all of its contents are immediately available for the keyword search. And I'll be executing a search here in just a second. So that's all done automatically for you. You load the documents in, and then the contents are available for search. Okay. So let's, let's jump right in. So let's do a search. And actually, we have that demo scenario that I was talking about. So we're going to search for content, and to really what we want to do is generate that report that I was talking about in the scenario. So I have a folder kind of sitting up here. This is called the clip, and this folder, the sleep report folder, exists somewhere in the system, but I've clipped it up here. That way, when I find the files that I'm looking for, I can add them directly into this sleep report folder. It's empty right now. There's no arrow, so we're starting from scratch. So first, if I'm going to add content to the sleep report folder, I better find content somewhere in my system. I better have content related to the term sleep. So I'm going to enter that in as a search term, and see all the different results that I get in the system. So the search is executing, and again, loading all the documents in, does the indexing, so I get hits. I'll get hits on anything that's related to the term sleep. So I got 29 results back, and the obvious ones you can see are right here. So anything that has the term sleep in it: Sleep Foundation, 7 Steps to Better Sleep, 8-Hour Sleep Myth, images, Sleeping Woman. So really, these are all lots of different. I like doing this search because you can see a lot of different file types that are coming back: PDF files, Word documents, the XML files, images, folders. So this is really kind of that general search, and really for our customers, this is kind of step one. Because they have content in all types of different systems, having RSuite being that central repository, to load all the files in and then being able to execute searches like this, step one is actually finding all the content that you have. And once you can find your content, then you can take action on the content. Okay, so I got a pretty big search result here, and this little obviously that's more than what I need for my report. But just to take it one step further, as I mentioned, as you can sort by files at different types. Let's say, for example, I just want to pull out all my PDF files. Very simply, just click on Files and Media PDF. So if I happen to be looking for PDFs, no problem. Then I can filter the search and then find specific PDFs I'm looking for. Okay, but for this case, for this demo. What I'm going to do is I'm looking for XML components, and one of the features of RSuite, it's an XML native content management system, which means that you load documents in. Authors can write in Word, so if they're authoring content, they can certainly we certainly support Word-based authoring. That content can be loaded in the system, and what we can help do is transform that content into XML. The reason why you would want to go to XML, a couple of reasons is taking advantage of RSuite's online editor. So when you're working with Word documents, you're kind of loading files in and out of the system. So you're downloading, make changes offline, and then upload them back in. By working with XML, and as you can see here, we have the Word document and the corresponding XML file. That's this one, that's topic that you see here. It allows you to use the online editor so you can make your edits directly within RSuite. You're basically staying in the system, make editorial changes or author content directly in the system, and then all your content is in one location. The next benefit is once content is in a neutral format such as XML, it allows you to create different outputs from that same content. So this is where it really supports that multi-channel publishing. So you're working with the same content, and then you can deliver, run a transform to create a PDF or create an EPUB file, or deliver content out to your website as HTML. Or maybe you have higher design content that really needs designers, typesetters, compositors to get their hands on and really do some nice layout work. We have the ability to take this XML, transform it into a format that can be imported into InDesign, for example, and then your designers can work in InDesign, do the layout work, and produce your print PDF. It's a more a linear type of publishing where you can work on. You don't have to necessarily work on your older publishing processes. Focus on print first. So working on getting that InDesign file done, and then by the way, now we need to create some digital output. So how do we create the PDF? How do we create an EPUB file? How do we extract this content to create HTML? When you start with XML, you can kind of fan out and say, okay, we have our XML. Now let's create the, from click of a button, you can create EPUB, PDF, and all different types of outputs, as you can see here. And we're going to do an example of this, when we create the sleep report. So let's go ahead and do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm looking for my XML topics, and these are documents, again, that started as Word and transformed into XML automatically for us. It's one of the features that RSuite has. So I'm going to look for my XML topics here. Okay, and as you can see, when I filter by the topics, now I have these various topics. And how did this content get in the system originally? Again, they were authored in Word, but you may have like a library of articles. So these may be all like individual articles or reports or white papers or something like that, or book chapters if they happen to be. But you can work with content at the lower level. You don't necessarily have to work with a full journal issue or a full book chapter. You can work at the article level or at the section level. And that really is what I'm going to show here. The next step is the content reuse portion. So pretending that I have a library of content in the system, but I want to take some of that content to generate the sleep report, now I can do that. So I don't care where where the library exists or where it exists in my repository. I found content, various content that I'm looking for, and what I can do is now I can select a few of them and add them to my sleep report. So to make things easy, let me just grab the first three here. So I'll multi-select, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add them to my sleep report folder. So I click on this icon and add selection to clipped item. So what's happening here now, it's actually creating by reference. So these exact same articles as they exist wherever they exist in the library in my repository now exist up here in my sleep report folder. As you can see, the arrow is here, and now those same 3 articles that I selected are right here. And the nice thing is now I'm not duplicating content. I'm just referencing that same content in the sleep report folder. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, so that's all the work that I want to do. So now I want to assign a task to somebody else. So now I want to create a workflow task to assign to another individual to carry the ball further and you know, do the editing and create the outputs. So from here, what I can do is I can start a workflow. And as I mentioned in the presentation part, in the PowerPoint slide, is that RSuite supports all different types of workflows from very simple to very complex. The simplest workflow we have is called the quick task workflow. The quick task workflow is like a 2-step workflow. I'm sending you something. It's kind of like email. I send you something to do. Hey, please do this. Please review this. Please edit this content. And when you're done, send it back to me. The nice part about doing it within RSuite is that it's all tracked and managed in RSuite's embedded workflow engine. So if you're a production manager, you can see all the different tasks that are going on, all content that are assigned to different individuals, and you can see what the due dates are, when the start date was, when the due date was, what content that they're working on. And I'll show that right after I kick off this workflow. I'll jump over into the workflow tab, and we can see that. You can also create, you know, what's called linear workflows or custom workflows, so certainly more complex workflows. The linear workflows can be set right here in RSuite, where you have, maybe you have a linear business process, let's say an editorial process where, you know, you're submitting a manuscript, editing a manuscript, reviewing it, designing it, and then publishing. So linear process, that can be easily created here directly within RSuite. And then, of course, custom workflows, where you may have workflows that spawn other workflows or workflows that require reaching out to other systems, let's say, you know, using RSuite's API to reach out to another system, grab metadata or grab some other content, pull it back in, and then continue on the process, or maybe it's doing some sort of validation to make sure the content is meeting certain criteria. Those types of custom workflows can be developed, and we have a lot of customers doing that have implemented custom workflows as well. So all types of those workflows are available within RSuite, but for our short demo today, I'll do the simple one, which is assigning a quick task. Okay, so the quick task page is just like this, where I can assign to any user in the system. So I can assign to my colleague David Turner, and what I can do is put in some details in, so you don't have to watch me type. I already have it typed up on my other page here, so I'll paste it in, and you can see the work I want them to do, which is review and edit articles for the sleep report, generate an EPUB for the bookstore, and our PDF proof for the author. And oh, by the way, please have this done by tomorrow. So let's put in a due date. In fact, I don't want it done by tomorrow. Let's do a quick update here. So I don't want them to work on Saturday. Maybe we'll say have it done by Monday. Monday is the 26th, so I can select the 26th here. RSuite can also send emails, so it can integrate with your email system via SMTP, so that David, when I kick off this workflow, he could get an automated email that will provide him with a link directly into RSuite to do some work. Okay. So now that I've done that, I've kicked off the workflow, as you can see. What I'm going to do is now I'm going to jump over into the workflow tab, and we can see all the different workflows that are here in the system. So what you're seeing first is my tasks. So these are the tasks that are assigned directly to me. So you can see the assignee is R. Smilowitz. So this is all the work I have to do. So I have a lot of quick task workflows. A lot of people have assigned me work to do. And it's mainly because I do all these different types of demos, so I can see all this different work that I have to do. But because I'm a manager in the system, I can also see not only my tasks, you can see all these different filters for my completed, overdue, my critical tasks, but I want to see all active tasks. So this is more for the production manager to see everything that's going on in the system. And now you can see that it's expanded out to 34 items. And I can see work that's assigned to all different individuals, to Marty, to workflow user, to David Turner, etc. So I can see all different types of tasks, and I can sort these. So these are all the columns. These columns are all completely configurable. But if I want to sort by due date, And what I'll do is I'll sort by due date in descending order, so I can see, so the newer ones float to the top, and I can see all the workflows here by due date in this order here. So for David's particular task, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to log in. I'm going to log out as me because I need to do work as David. So I'm going to log out as me and then log in as David Turner to see his workflow view. Okay, so I'm going to select David Turner, log into the system. So this is me coming in as another user. And now we can see the workflow task. So jumps into the content view first, but now if I look at David's workflow page, you can see the workflow that I just assigned to him. So this, as you can see, the start date was today, just now at 10:19 my time, and due on June 26, which is Monday. If David wants to get the workflow details, very simply, he clicks on it and all the information that David needs is right here for him to work on. He can see the task that's assigned to him, any comments. So this is the comment when I send it to him. This is all the work that I want him to do: review and edit the articles, generate the EPUB for the bookstore, have it done by Monday, thanks Rob. And the really nice feature is that because I assign the workflow at the content level, basically at the sleep report folder, everything David needs is right here. So he doesn't have to go looking for the content. It was virtually snipped out of the main repository and sent here to him as an attachment. So now all the work he needs to do is right here within the system. So now let's do the next set of tasks, which we need him to do is actually let's do some reviewing and editing of these articles. And this is taking advantage of that the editorial tool that we have built in RSuite called RSuite Edit. Okay, so I have the gear icon here, which means I can click on content and open it up. So I'm going to open up this first article here within RSuite Edit. When I do that, it launches the editor, and what you'll see once it loads up, here we go, is the content. So this is that article that's in the system. Again, this started as a Word document, transformed into XML, and now I can see it here in the editor. When I click in, it brings up the editor menu, and now I can do all the various tasks that, typically like you can do in Microsoft Word, but now you can do directly here in the online editor. So you can see I had done some editing here before. This is some content I like to work with. You can see all the various features. So, styling changes, bold, italic, underline, adding bulleted lists, numbered lists, doing styling, track changes is turned on. So this is some of the features you can do. Change tracking, you can do commenting, inserting images from RSuite, as you can see here, inserting tables. So a lot of Word-like features, like I mentioned. If I want to make a change, I can do that right here. I'm going to say new change on June 23rd. So I'll say just June 23. And you can see it's highlighted in green. Hopefully that's coming through on the screen. And when I hover over it, you can see that it was added by David Turner. As you know, I'm logged in as David Turner right now. So this is showing that, as content goes through editorial processes, you can see who changed what when. So if I added this, and now, if I want to delete this content, this is something I may have added in a previous demo, I can do that, and you can see when I hover over it, it said deleted by David Turner. So I can make changes to content. And this is your standard article. Articles are essentially different heading levels. So you have your title and maybe a heading 1, heading 2, body text. But there's a lot of control you can have over your content, in the system. If I want to come in here, let's say for example I want to add like a bulleted list or a numbered list, for example, list item 1, list item 2. Various things that you can do in this system. And I apologize for typing slow. That's what I do. So this is for for standard editing. So when your changes are complete, just check the checkbox here, which commits all the changes. As you can see, the green goes away. So now the changes have been committed. I also mentioned commenting. So like for example, I'm seeing here, this sleep is not capitalized. So maybe I want to put a comment in here. Back to the author, should this be capitalized? ? Click OK, and you can see, I had a test comment here from a couple days ago, but here, here's a comment. So you can see, who made what comment. So I made a comment 3 days ago, R. Smilowitz, and then David Turner just now put in this comment. So you can track, not only can you do editorial work, but you can also do commenting and sending information back and forth to the various authors or editors who are accessing the content. Okay. So now when you're so let's pretend we've made all our changes. We were in here for a while and we're done. We can click save, which will save it into, save it on screen. And then what we need, this last step is to actually check it into the repository. So RSuite, as any good content management system has, version control. So what RSuite does, it will save and store and manage every version of every content. So it'll have the original one as submitted by the author. And then as editorial changes are made by different users, every time they check in, it creates a new version. You can do major or minor, which major would be like a 2.0, minor would be a 1.1, and you can put any message here in the system that says what changes were made. The default message here is updated by David Turner using RSuite Edit, which is good enough for me. I check it back in, and now that all my changes have been committed into the repository. Okay, so if I bounce out of the editor now and back into RSuite, just do a quick refresh here, and now you can see that the content, the last modified date was updated. You can see it was updated by David Turner, and now on June 23rd, that change has been made. So similarly, I can make changes to the other articles or other topics in the system, but I think you get the idea. But now what we want to do is now we need to create some output. So we've made the editorial changes directly here within RSuite using RSuite Edit, and now we can create some output. So I mentioned, RSuite can create all different types of outputs, EPUBs, PDF files, etc. So let's start creating some of these outputs. I'll create a PDF file. So essentially what this is doing, it's doing a couple different things. If you recall, as you can see, these are three completely separate articles. But when I kicked off the transform at the report level, so at the folder level, what it's actually doing, it's combining these three separate articles together into one complete PDF document that'll essentially create like three different chapters or three different articles within the same PDF, depending on how the transform was written. So now I have my PDF here. As you can see, it was just generated, and if we want to preview it, we can preview it here online, of course. Automatically at the folder level, put the title in here. It says Sleep Report is the title. Automatically created a table of contents, 7 steps of better sleep, what the National Sleep Foundation. So auto-generated this table of contents, and you can see the content that's in the system. So it says 7 steps of better sleep article was first. We didn't edit that one. We weren't working with that one. We were actually working with the second article here, what the National Sleep Foundation says about healthy sleep. And of course, as you can see, the changes that I made, when I committed into the system and auto-generated the PDF, put it together, and as you can see, my changes have been committed, and now, and here's the list item as well that I created in the editor. Same thing applies for the EPUB. If we wanted to create an EPUB, again, working with the same content, but generating an EPUB output. Again, following just a different, same business rules, but a different transform, creating a new and valid EPUB file that then can be distributed, and you can create different EPUB files. Maybe you have an EPUB that's meant for iOS and for the iPad, for the iBook store. Maybe you have one, you may need to create an EPUB for another EPUB delivery system. There's really no limit, once that content is XML, there's really no limit to what you can create. And as I also mentioned, if you need to deliver content, HTML, if you want to push it out, content out to your website, or if you want to if you have higher design content, you can get the content into InDesign as well. Okay. So now, and I'm watching the clock here, I know I'm almost out of time, but to complete the workflow, what David needs to do is, complete the task. So he did what he needed to do, created the EPUB and PDF file, did the edits. So now he can come here and complete the task. And what you'll see here, if you keep an eye on this one up here in his inbox, once I complete the task, you'll see it was sent back to me. So that's because I was the initiator, so you can see the path that this workflow took. And as you can see, of course, now his queue is empty. There's no tasks found So that work has been done. And if David wants to look in his completed task to see all the work that he's done, you can see now that task is actually in his moved over into his completed folder. This one right here, and it says it was due on June 26th, but he got it done early and finished it on June 23rd. Okay, so that's, that is kind of wraps up what I wanted to show with RSuite itself. So let me jump back into just for a few final slides to talk about what we showed today, and we had seen this already, but let's talk about some features and benefits. So hopefully what you saw today when I was doing the demonstration is that RSuite has that really intuitive interface to effectively manage all of your publishing assets, both text and media. So we saw, doing the searches, working with the text, showing the image files, etc. So RSuite can be that central repository, that single source repository for all of your content. No more tracking down files in other systems. Everything can be stored right within RSuite. Powerful keyword and metadata searching. So I did a search on the keyword sleep, did some faceted searching. So I searched, did some filtering, showed PDFs, showed how to find the XML topics. So it really significantly reduces the time it takes for users to locate content. So step one is getting all your content in the system, and of course step two is leveraging the search to be able to find what you're looking for so that you can create your publications or do the work that you need to do with that content. Okay, being able to execute workflows, search them, and review your tasks. We spent a lot of time in workflow. I talked about all the different types of workflows RSuite supports, showed the quick task workflow and being able to search on the workflows, reviewing tasks. For users, it's great. They can see everything that's assigned to them and work right through their task inbox, and especially for managers, seeing the all active tasks, knowing what's being worked on and by whom, so what content that they're working on, who's actually working on it, when the due date is, so you can see who's working on what, and being able to track everything in process that's going on in your organization. And then finally, how easy it was to use the automated transforms to create the different outputs. So I showed you how to edit the content in RSuite Edit, and then generate an EPUB and PDF file. And of course, there's I showed the other options that were available as well. ICML to go into InDesign, or HTML to go out to your website. Again, those are just different transforms that are in the system. So the benefit there is being able to deliver the same content to various channels in the different formats. So you have a customer who needs an EPUB, or you have a customer that needs a PDF, or maybe you need a different flavor of XML. Maybe they have you have one format of XML, they need a different format. Just all those are in RSuite are just different transforms. Some are default within RSuite. They can be tweaked to meet your specific business rules and output types. The benefit there is being able to publish your print and digital output simultaneously. You don't have to focus on print first, get it into a digital format, and then work on print, let your designers work on their print while you've already produced your EPUB and PDF files, which obviously ultimately shortens time to market. Okay, last slide. I know I went over a lot of information today very quickly. You probably, just to give you a flavor of what was available. There's so much more. So, a couple different websites. RSuite itself is you can see all the details about RSuite at www.rsuitecms.com. Our new primary, as part of Orbis Technologies. As you can see, we have a website, www.orbistechnologies.com. We provided solutions, whether you're a publishing organization, a government agency, healthcare companies, if you deal with standards, other large corporations. So we have, manufacturers that are using RSuite to manage their content related to, whatever, types of products that they're manufacturing. Large corporations, many corporations are using RSuite for their publishing needs. So again, my name is Rob Smilitz. I'm the Director of Sales Engineering. Thank you so much for spending time with me today, and we'll certainly be reaching out to you if you have very specific needs. If there was some interest here with RSuite, we'll certainly be following up with you to talk about that, and we can do further demonstrations to show how RSuite can meet, solve your pain points and meet your publishing needs. Okay, thank you very much, everyone, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.